Okay. So first of all, thank you for all joining today's call. This is for the United VARS Academy for 2025. I have two important people in the call today. We have Tina, who was a participant in Barcelona this year, and we have Mike Green, who has been one of the facilitators for multiple academies, and he's also sent participants to the United VARS Academy as well. So I've invited them to join today to give their feedback, their insights. Maybe Mike, from a managerial perspective, can give us some insights and feedback into why we think it's important to send people to the academy, why it's important to for the academy as part of the United VARS Alliance. And Tina can also give her feedback on, I guess, her experience as a participant this year as well. So what I wanted to do today's agenda, I wanted to briefly just touch on how the United VARS Academy came about, and maybe get Mike, if you don't mind, to maybe jump in and give some your feedback, because I feel that you've been here from the start. You've been here with the start of the academy, and you also have some really great insights into why it's important to upskill and offer these incentives to our colleagues, the war on talent, as we've called it before, why it's important to tackle this. Then I'll briefly touch on the objectives and the what is delivered at the academy, and briefly show one of the agendas, and then I'll hand it over to Tina, where she can give her feedback and share her experience as a participant. There are a few people in this call who I know who haven't actually sent people to the United VARS Academy, so I hope this is the insightful call where you can maybe get some first-hand knowledge from a facilitator, but also from a participant in terms of what benefits you can get out of it. So if you don't mind me, I'm also going to share my screen. Let me know if you can see it.
We can.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I just want to start with a few points, and I guess get the discussion going in like how the United VARS Academy came about. It started 4 years ago with the discussion about members, when we were talking about how we were lacking resources, how it can be hard and expensive to hire good consultants and project managers, but we want to also retain our top employees and stop them from going to our big competitors. We wanted to find ways to motivate existing employees and the high performers, and also attract new people. And of course, in general, United VARS, we want to create awareness about United VARS, because a lot of participants who do join the United VARS Academy unfortunately don't know much about United VARS. And the more that we can share the awareness about United VARS, I believe, can also help us more in our working life as well. Perhaps it can open new doors for projects, for new opportunities, for, let's say, international exchangement, in terms of maybe employees going here for a period of time, going there, so we're not losing our employees to competitors. Mike, I wanted to see if you had any a few words on this as well, because I know you spoke at the APJ Academy last year and the annual meeting last year when we discussed the war on talent, and why you see the academy as an important thing to include your colleagues or employees with, and what's your take on the whole war on talent?
Yeah, well, good afternoon, good evening, and good morning for whomever of my United VAR colleagues are out there. As my background shares, I'm with AnswerThink, a North American UVAR partner, and I currently run our implementation services group here with John McGrath, who many of you may know. But as Emily shared, I've had the opportunity to participate in the United VAR Academy through as a facilitator running an international project management series. And I would just say this, the war on talent is real. 25, 30 years ago when I was a young consultant, right there, we were in a different world. We had the former Big Five firms that would find talent, bring them into their organizations, spend an enormous amount of financial investment to get them trained not only on, say, SAP, but Oracle and other applications, but then spend an inordinate amount of time and money on teaching them how to be quality consultants. That's my background, and that's how I was brought up. But today, and with that model, what would happen is the traditional old style up and out meant that either some people just didn't make a particular cut, and so they washed through the system and found their ways into smaller or different consulting firms, and others just didn't like, the big five model, right? And so they also found ways. And so the organizations that we have been over the last 5, 10, 15 years were sort of a natural progression of that talent pool that had been pulled through the system. Unfortunately, we don't have that pull through system. We don't have organizations that are spending significant amounts of money to train people coming right out of college, at least the way they used to. And again, the consulting that we need isn't just being a wrench turner, if you will, or a mechanic of SAP, how to configure the system. It's about being a business consultant, being able to facilitate effectively with the C-level, with middle management, and with day-to-day end users. Those are critical elements of consulting skills that I think are being somehow lost or diminished in the overall marketplace. And so I guess the question you might have then is, well, how does that pertain to what we're doing today, how we do it today, and where does the value of the United VAR Academy come into? And I would just tell you this, I wasn't skeptical, but I didn't know what to expect, when we started the Academy. But I would tell you, the first 3 that I have participated in, the most important thing, and I've said this at every class, I have learned just as much as I hope I have shared in each one of those academies. I think it's important that we share our collective experiences. Mike Green might only have 25 or 30 years of experience, but when I can stack other people's experiences where they're sharing theirs with me and mine with them, we become a much broader, capable experience. The ability to reach out to those people after the academies. For each of the 3 academies that I've been associated with, I still communicate with many of those groups in each of those academies through LinkedIn, through emails, people asking for some guidance, people asking for some tools and templates. That's invaluable to, what we can bring to the consulting world. But what really is unique about this is that we bring different languages, we bring different cultures, we bring different experiences. And so the ability to learn how to effectively think, act, talk, facilitate, participate with a broad, global, diverse community is imperative in today's world. I don't think any of us have too many clients that don't have some type of global reach in terms of their capabilities. And so, I think it's imperative for us to give and communicate to our own people that we do have an avenue to invest in them. We do have an avenue to give them experiences that they wouldn't get elsewhere. And it's critical in terms of, getting them excited about wanting to do those types of things in terms of continuing on with their career. SOA people have been doing a great job of putting academy together in terms of training consultants. And what I would end on is this, is that I think this war on talent is so critical for all of us in the next 10, 15 years, that I think we need to find ways to maybe not only work as partners when we roll out to one of your countries, or that you have a client that's rolling out to the US, but we might need to start thinking about how we cross-pollinate and share resources to staff open positions. If we're already going out and having to fill certain opportunities with subcontractors, why not think about having subcontractors coming from a United VAR partner, right? Who is starting to know us, who is starting to understand how we work together, who has already worked in a diverse culture with multiple languages. I see that only as a strong value. So I'll end by saying that, the United VAR Academy, while we've already had 4 or 5 to date, we're in its infancy. And yes, AnswerThink and I struggle with trying to find time to let somebody go for a week. We're all very busy. But at the end of the day, the investment, I think, will pay far more dividends than the lack of the valued revenue that we might ask our consultants to give up for a single week. And I would just, on Emily, Alex, and Floor's behalf, I would suggest and highly recommend that the United VAR Academy is significantly important to all of us, but it's more important to the individual consultants who we want to invest in for, the next 15, 20, 25, 30 years.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And as someone who sat back and experienced the academies with you too, Mike, I feel like you can probably agree when I say that I don't think a single person has walked away from the academy not satisfied. I think a lot of them have walked away with eyes wide open, with some new insights, and also some, like you've mentioned, some strong contacts that I think will last a lifetime as well.
Yeah, I think the other thing, maybe just to give the group some additional information, is look, in these cross-pollinated groups, we have people who are experienced consultants, people who have been a consultant for 15 or 20 years. We also have consultants who have been there 3, 4, 5 years, right? And so the ability for them to work together has been important. We have people who have, a multitude of skills, and we have others who have single skills. We have people who are coming from sales and pre-sales and supporting consulting. So bringing those different diverse skill sets together have been invaluable. We also have seen, and I think Emily can attest to this, and unfortunately I don't know Tina, in terms of attending her academy this year, but we saw people who had different levels of confidence at the beginning, right? People
Yeah.
who were shy, people who were concerned about their language in terms of being able to maybe speak English well enough. And yet after day 2, you saw a difference. After day 3, you saw a difference. And by the final ending dinner at the end of the week, it was amazing to see that both the camaraderie, but the consultants come out of their shell, right, and be able to be full participants in the overall event. So it's a great way to get people to get confident, to get comfortable without necessarily being in front of a client and being nervous, but in front of other colleagues. And they get the value of having someone like myself and the other presenters to be able to help force them to facilitate in a comfortable, protective world, but putting them in challenging situations where they really have started to rise. And I think that's the foundation that they can then build upon.
Yeah, definitely. I think when you see at the start of the week, towards the end of the week, the people who were maybe a bit more self-conscious in terms of speaking a language that is not their first language, or whether it might even be that they weren't even sure if it was worthwhile coming to the academy. And then towards the end of the week, everyone said, I'm so glad that I took the time to go. So, you can see from the start to the finish just how for me, I love sitting back on the final day and you see everyone come together and everyone's personalities, and you can see how much people grow in 1 week.
Agreed.
So I will also just quickly move on with the next parts where I want to also present to you, I guess, the objectives of our United VARS Academy. So, I mean, we can talk here for ages about our experiences.
Emily, do you want to share your screen again?
Yes, I'm going to do that.
Okay.
Let me do that now. Okay. So let me see if you can see it again.
Yes.
Okay. So the 4 main objectives that we have pushed within the United VARS Academy are to rethink, learn, understand, and exchange. So essentially, rethink your role as a consultant and the skills, qualities, and values that will drive your success within your company's new paradigm. Learn the key focus factors to drive successful international projects, and also how United VARS can help you along your customer journey. This is something I know that Mike really touched on in his international project management area. And it's really an interesting for me also to see how many members have worked together and how it's also been delegated in the past, and what you learn from it, what takeaways, the pros and cons. Understand multicultural environments and organizational personal biases in order to develop optimal strategies to drive change, and exchange insights and experiences with other professionals from all around the world and inspire a new way of doing things. I feel like that for me is like the main takeaway from the United VARS Academy, is that at the end of the week, I feel like a lot of people take away a different view on things or a different way of doing things, because the way it's done in America is different than this way in Germany or in the Netherlands or in Asia. And it's always really nice to see everyone come together and realize the similarities they have and the differences they have, but how it always somehow works out. Um, so with the objectives, the focus topics we have are: what are the new skills in the paradigm of focus on human and social skills? How to pitch, plan, and execute a United VARS project. Cultural awareness and expanding ways of thinking. The challenges in international projects and managing the conflict that arise from them. And develop a view on getting things done within a systematic approach. Our focus candidates for the United VARS Academy are consultants with 3 years experience or 2 years experience even, senior consultants or project managers, and also we've added pre-sales and sales. What we have found is, I know in Toronto we had a mix of some sales people, and I think it was quite insightful for them to also learn from the consultant's point of view, but also from the consultants to learn from the sales point of view as well. And we're hoping to kind of create that mix moving forward in 2025, to have a mixture of consultants and sales, because in the earlier call today, we had a girl, Rebecca. She was in Toronto with Mike, and she was in sales, or she is in sales, and she spoke about how she still found the academy very insightful and took away new ways of doing things, new ways of thinking, and so on, and found it one of the best weeks of her life. So we're wanting to keep the mix of consultants and sales in the future. And I just wanted to share for you, besides Mike and Tito, who obviously know what the agenda more or less looks like, this is what an overview of our agenda from Toronto and Barcelona and Tokyo will look more or less similar. Obviously, things might be on different days or different time slots, but essentially you can see the topics that we cover, the areas that we cover, and what your employees or participants will be up to. And also we do have some fun things as well, so like a team building, and we have a farewell dinner. So there's a lot of fun things to do in the evening as well, but lots of learning as well. So before I go on to the dates for next year, I wanted to hand it over to Tina, where she could maybe share her experience from this year in Barcelona, and maybe share what were your main takeaways, and if you would recommend the academy to anyone moving forward.
Yes, hello. Thank you, Emily. So I'm Tine. I'm from SOA people, and yeah, for me, United VARS was really an eye opener. Just to be honest, I had heard from United VARS. I had heard from it in the company, but I never really knew what it was and what it can do. So this was really the first time that I had some insights and see, okay, now after this week, I know now what United VARS can do. And I see myself sometimes talking to my colleagues now and spontaneously talking about the United VARS and explain them, okay, yeah, it was a nice academy. I also share some experience from then. But yeah, it's really, now I really know what it can do. It's not just a word that we put on our presentations towards clients, but now I can explain and yeah, put some stuff behind it, that what the value can be of the United VARS. So yeah, I had really nice experience in Barcelona. I met a lot of nice people, and two main topics I've liked about this academy. The first thing is that okay, we had a lot of courses. We had some presentations from Manuel, and we also had some guest speakers from different people from different functions in companies, like CEOs and sales managers, marketing department, all these kind of things. But what I liked most about the presentations is that it wasn't like we were all listening and somebody is talking. No, it was always with a lot of interaction. Sometimes Manuel, he just put a topic out there and then we went discussing and really going in it and in the topic, and we didn't follow his presentation anymore. We just went with our discussions to all of the different kind of people in the room. And that was really nice. I liked that a lot. And the other thing is, of course, the not being in course part, but at lunch or at dinner. For me, it was a big advantage that I only knew one person before I went to United Farts. There was only one colleague that I already knew. So for me, I always like to talk to people from other cultures, other countries, and see their insights, not only on work related topics, but also personal views. At dinner time, I always decide, okay, now I'm going with these people, and then the other evening I'm going with somebody else, just to informally talk as well, and not only formal and being about work. So that's my takeaways and what I did.
It was a good
what
mix.
I found. Yes, it was really good.
And would you recommend fellow United Vars members to send their colleagues to the academy?
Yeah, really, because like I said in my first part, you know the word United Vars, you know a little bit what it does, but when you're in the academy, you really see what it can do. You meet already people. You can easily now contact them. It's more easy to do it. It's not yeah
understand. Thank you very much, Tina. I just also wanted to quickly touch back to you, Mike, because you've sent participants to the academy. I think you've sent about 4. You sent them to, I think, 3 different locations, and I guess I know you had some good feedback from a lot of them. I don't know if you're able to share any of it on how they found the academies and what you think they got out of it, perhaps.
Yeah, it is interesting. I've just from an Answer Think perspective, I've had the opportunity to send people at different skill levels. So when Emily had her slide up there talking about, the different years of experience. So in the first academy, which was the Barcelona Academy before Tina participated in, I had a senior project manager and a finance implementation consultant who was as bright as they would come, but was a little bit reserved in his personality, at least at the beginning of the week. I saw him grow tremendously, throughout the week, which is what I was really hoping for. When we were in Thailand last year, I brought one of my colleagues from our Global Development Center in India, and I think he also found himself a little bit overwhelmed at first in the first day or two. But as Emily said, there's a number of team building events that go on, and each academy is a bit different. But it was amazing for me to watch Mahesh's growth during the course of the team building event and what that meant as he carried through the rest of the week. And then in Toronto, I had a junior project manager who's got great talents and great skills, and just needed a little bit more exposure to some different elements. And so from my perspective, I think all of them got something really significant out of it. Some of them, I think, undertook more insights. Some of them shared a lot of insights through the facilitated sessions. And I would like to echo Tina's perspective that, we do have key topics and we do have key sessions, but they're not strict, follow the presentation. It really is an engaging experience, right? The things happen much better when we can facilitate, but the dialogue goes 2 ways, which enforces my earlier comment that says, I have learned as much from each of the academies that I've, taught in, as I've hopefully shared. So it's a strong investment, I believe, for both the short term and the long term of each of our organizations as we're part of the United VARs.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Thank you very much, Mike and Tina. I want to now just quickly mention the dates that we have for 2025 moving forward. We are hoping to have 4 academies. So hopefully the feedback and insights from Mike and Tina have persuaded you guys to send somebody next year. So if you can see my screen again, we're hoping to have 4. The first one we're hoping to have in Egypt, with the support of our Egyptian member Adraki. This would be at the end of February from the 23rd to the 27th. Now, if you look at your calendar date, you might realize that the 23rd is actually a Sunday. Fun fact, in Egypt, the work week is actually from Sunday to Thursday. So we discussed internally and we thought, from a cultural experience and a cultural standpoint, let's follow the Egyptian work week calendar and organize the academy to be from Sunday to Thursday. Adraki was more than happy to have us have the academy also on the Friday, but we thought, to add to the experience, because the academy is all about cultural awareness and cultural differences as well, we thought this would be a really cool experience to have somebody come to Cairo and also work within the Egyptian work week. Our second academy, we're also hoping to do it in Bangkok again. We have the support from Netizen again, and they were more than amazing last year. Mike can also probably vouch for that. They were so supportive and set up everything wonderfully, and they have offered to support us again this year, and the dates would be end of March to start of April. And in Europe, we are also wanting to do it in Budapest with the support of our Hungarian member BCS from the dates of 7th to the 11th of July. And our 4th academy option we are hoping to do within the Americas. Now, at this point in time, we don't have a location. It is over a year away, but please stay tuned for a location. But this is the expected weekday from the 6th to the 10th of October. So the price for the United VARS Academy is the same as last year. The price hasn't changed. There's an option with hotel or without hotel, and the certification hub voucher and certificate of achievement is 2 things that your participant will also receive after the United VARS Academy, on top of having an amazing world-class multicultural international experience. There are some dates to remember. I will send this also after the call. We have registration dates and virtual kickoff dates. So registration dates are usually just before our kickoff, because our kickoff has to be at least 6 weeks before the on-site academy, because Manuel, who's the other main facilitator, he organizes these exercises for participants, and we try and give them enough time to work within the groups virtually before they meet on site in person. So for Cairo, the cutoff registration date is the end of December. Bangkok, it's the 10th of February. For Budapest, it's the 12th of May. And for Americas, 11th of August. So just keep those in mind when you're wanting to decide on where to send your participant. We would need the details before these specific dates. Additionally, you can also find any additional information regarding the United VARS Hub, United VARS Academy on our new United VARS Hub page. You can also register for the Academy there as well. You'll have the link for this in the email as well. So if you want to take the initiative and register your participant without contacting me or needing additional support, you're more than welcome to do so. And also previous academy content is also available on there as well. So any previous academies you want to have a look at, or any participants want to go see the previous presentations or photos or videos, they can also see this on the United VARS Hub as well. So without further ado, does anyone have any final questions or feedbacks?
I'm curious, no questions.
Yeah, we must have answered everything. Will anyone also who is in the call will consider sending someone to the Academy for 2025? I'm hoping.
Yeah,
Yes.
we will see. I have to check internally, of course. And thank you very much, Michael and Tina. Very useful this part, and also you, Emily. And now I collect the information, and then I will talk internally.
Perfect. Francisca, you put your hand up.
Yes, well, it's just the same. I will talk with our manager here, but it was very interesting, so I would really like to participate.
Great. That's exactly what we want to hear. So we hope, it gave you a bit better insight into what the United Arts Academy is. And of course, you will have the ability to rewatch this recording if you need to send it to anybody within your organization. And you will also have the slides and all the details you need. And you can contact me at any time if you have any questions.
I would just, leave. I would just leave by ending that, if there's, look, I understand the cost and time commitment might be of some concern, but I would strongly recommend that if that's the case, then start by just sending one person, right? So that they can come back and share the direct value to the rest of the organization. I think you would find that to be a worthwhile investment, right? We share the same concerns and constraints. I think there was some hesitancy, but I can tell you that, the first academy that I spoke at, I brought 2 colleagues with me. And while I could make the case for participating, I think what resonated was, me getting my colleagues on a couple of calls with John McGrath and some others to make sure that they saw the true value from the consultant's perspective. So, like I said, we all have to do what's best for our own organizations. But if you can start with one, I think you'll see the value and it'll grow from there.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, start with one and, see how it goes and see if it trickles down and, maybe one this year, one next year, or one to one location, one to another. Have a discuss internally. And again, of course, you can always contact me. And I'm sure if you have any questions for Mike or Tina, they'd be more than happy to answer them via email as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we hope to see some of your employees or colleagues at one of the locations next year. And yeah, thank you very much for joining today's call. Thank you, Mike and Tina, again. Your support is super valuable, and I hope to see you guys again soon.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.